Alright, we're going to demonstrate how to move a website from one Joomla location to another. I'm doing this on a LAMP server here, which is my source, and a LAMP server destination as well. This might vary a little bit if you have to use Plesk or GoDaddy or something like that. Your first thing you're going to want to do is run over to the file manager here and back up the actual files of the website. I am not going to grab the entire website. I just need a subdomain, which I have Joomla installed to as well. The first thing I'm going to want to do for simplicity and speed is grab all of it. And hold on, I don't think I let you see that. And we're going to want to select compress up here at the top. I'm making it a zip archive, and usually I like to change the name to something a little more memorable, or at least that I know what it is. Usually I name it the same thing as the directory itself. It just helps. So anyway, I'll go ahead and compress the files. That'll take just a second. And hopefully if there's enough space, I'll be able to scroll down here to the bottom of the log. And if I don't see any errors down here at the bottom, and I do not, then everything worked fine. If you do see errors at the bottom, chances are you ran out of space. If you are the administrator, just go ahead and assign more space to this account and it'll let you. You need about twice as much space, obviously, than it takes up, because we're basically just making another copy of the website. Once that's finished, that'll not usually automatically update, so I can't see the zip file yet. So to fix that, I just run up here and click go, and if I do that, it should refresh. I should be able to find my zip file and then go ahead and download it. I've actually already downloaded this file, so I don't need to do it again, and I'm not gonna have you wait for it. When you get finished with the file, you can just delete it so that it's not wasting space. In fact, if you're done with this website, since you're moving it, you could probably select everything and go ahead and delete it as well. After that, we are done with the file manager. We still need to finish our backup. So our next step is to come down here and go to phpMyAdmin, which is somewhere in this neighborhood. We need to figure out which database is which. Obviously I've got multiple databases in here. Information schema tends to stay there, and you probably at least have one more. If not, you have several more. If you do have several more, you're going to need to know which database to grab. If you don't know, there's a pretty easy way of finding out. Usually what I do, if I don't know what the database is, I go ahead and download the folder like we just did a minute ago, or I actually did in advance. I went ahead and extracted this to a folder so I can go ahead and look at that structure again if I want. I can go to this configuration file, and once inside there, if I scroll down to the bottom of it, there should be some settings for the database, which is in here somewhere. Yeah, if you can see that or not, where it lists the host, the user, and the database. So I've got names of them, so all I have to do is find them in the server itself now, and if we're lucky, it'll be there and be called the same thing. And yeah, Easy Earth Core, that's what we're looking for, so that's the one I want. Go ahead and click onto that. I'm seeing the entire database. What you want to do at that point is just go ahead and export it. We're going to do that now. The export method, whatever is checked, is usually fine. You can just go ahead and click go and save it to wherever you want to save it. And now we've got a backup of the database. And technically at this point we are done with the old web server. We don't need anything out of here again. So our next step is going to be to go to the new one. And we want to make some changes here. Alright, first of all, let's go ahead and send the site files to where they belong. Use your file manager once again. I have set up a subdomain in my account, which is empty, which is where I would like to dump everything if I can. That's what this looks like right now. It's not showing any website, but that's where it's going to go. This is where we're at. So what we need to do is we should just go ahead and upload these files, but we can't really just go ahead and do that yet. If we send it the way it is, it will be wrong. Part of that reason is these settings here. Actually, that's the only reason. And most of your database problems are going to be related to those settings, and what I'm going to show you next. So while I would like to go ahead and upload this now, I actually can't. Not quite yet. Let's go back to the control panel. Actually, we can leave the file manager open if you want. We need to set up a database to store everything. I've already got a database on the server, and this is what they're supposed to look like. Database name, username over here, but now I need to make one that looks like this, and I can't make one that looks exactly like that. The user with the underscore in the name, the username starts with Mr. Coffee for this one, and I can't put Easy Earth there. I can, however, end it with the COR, so it at least makes it partly the same. You can make them different if you want. A different database name versus a different username for that database, but for simplicity I tend to like to make them both the same. And at this point you can use the existing old password if you want. You can see I have an example password already saved in here. If you want, you can use that one, or you can let this guy go ahead and generate a new one, which is what I'm going to do at this time. Actually, just copy that to the clipboard. We don't really ever have to type it in or anything ever again. We only have to use it this one time, so I'll go ahead and create the user using this setting. Just so I don't lose the password, I go back here to my configuration file, paste it, and now that's in there. But we still got one more thing to do. If you look, you'll see that this doesn't have a user assigned to it. We did just make a user of the same name, but it's not here. It needs to look like this one below. So to get it there, you go down here to the bottom of this particular screen, and there is an add user to database option. And right now, since they're alphabetically both like on top, they're both already selected for you. So all you have to do is click add. So if I click add right now, it'll give you the options, like what do I want to let this user do to this database, and pretty much I want to let them do everything. So I'll just say all privileges, make the changes, go back, and now it looks correct. Now I've got a user assigned to that database. Before, that user didn't do any good. It was just on the server, but it didn't have access to any database, and now it does. So everything is happy. Once we have that taken care of, we could go do something else like load the database in, but I think before I forget to do it, I need to come back over here. This right here is your next big problem. The username and the database don't match what's on the server, so we need to change that to match what's on the server. Now, once I've made those two changes, the database and the username do match what's on the server, and we're pretty much good to go. You could leave right now, you could go ahead and upload the site as is, or you can make a couple other changes to this file before you get done saving it. You'll notice that the log path and the temporary path are both probably wrong. There'll be like a username in the directory structure there, which needs to be updated to match, or it won't be writable. You do not need to do this right now if you don't want to, or if you don't know the information yet. It should be revealed on your destination somewhere, and usually that location is... If I go back to the home page, it'll usually tell you exactly what that home directory is supposed to look like. If that's where you're going to put it, I'm not putting it there. I'm actually putting it in the subdomain, but it would be something like that. How'd that go again? Home, Mr. Coffee, my fault. And that path for me is something like, I think it's test. Alright, so it would look something like this once you get it set correctly. It might not look exactly like that. You may not be in a subdomain, so there may not be a directory here, but it'll be similar to that. So anyway, once you've got all those changes done to this file, you can go ahead and save it. And then go back to the folder. Mine saves a backup file of that text, which I don't need saved in here. And then I select them all, and I make a new zip file. And that'll take just a second. And once that's made, we can go ahead and upload the website. So to do that, I already had the file manager open. It's still empty, so we will go ahead and upload it now by clicking this guy. You gotta find it. This is the cor.zip that I downloaded, but that is not the one that I want to upload because I've made some changes to that file. So you go to the directory that has the change file in there. I find my zip and I upload it, and it should be chugging along now. It'll take a little while. So while that's happening, because I get bored easy, let's go back over here and send up the database. We've already made a user and the database, so we can go to phpMyAdmin now. And I've got one that already existed. Of course, I've got that silly information schema thing, which we will ignore. Go ahead and go to the empty database. It doesn't have anything in it. Now let's go ahead and import it. Usually, you don't have to change anything for this to work. You can usually just select it as is. You don't have to change any of the settings. You can just click go, and if you're lucky, there will be a Joomla website having been uploaded now. If you do have to change something, this is the most likely thing you'll have to change. I could go ahead and open that SQL file. It's just plain text. There's nothing special about it. For Plesk servers, a lot of the time they will include a line that says something along the lines of one of these. It'll be like use some lengthy database name. There will be a line kind of like that somewhere. When you see it, just delete it. That's all you have to do. You do not have to change it in any way. It doesn't have to be in there for this to work. When you are in the import option, the database is already selected. You are in the database that you are importing it into. You do not need the use line. But for some reason, Plesk likes to put it in there by default. I don't know why. It just does. So if you run into a problem here where you try to import it and it says something about it doesn't have permission, it can't use the database selected, or can't create the database that doesn't exist or whatever, that's how to get rid of that error. You just remove that line, save the SQL file the way it was, and try it again. And if you got all of them, there may be more than one of them in there. There's probably going to be one per insert, and there's going to be a lot of inserts. So, anyway. So once we have that done, the site's basically good to go. The only thing that we have left to do is go back here to this control panel, and we see that at long last the website has been uploaded, which is good. Go back to the directory, there it is. From here you just have to say extract, which should be sort of easy to find. It's up there next to the compress we used earlier. Extract the files. Always check your log and make sure that you didn't have any errors at the bottom. You shouldn't have. If the last thing you see is inflating, then you're probably okay. It's every once in a while it'll run out of space. If you did run out of space, just go in, into the administrative section and increase the size of the package, and it will let you do it. Alright, after you've done extracting it, this doesn't usually update automatically, so you can go up here and click go again, and that will go ahead and display what's in there, which will hopefully include the entire website. I usually find the zip file after I'm done and delete it, since it's just sitting there wasting space. You don't need it. You could leave it there, I guess, as a backup, but otherwise you don't need it. And at this point, you should have a website if everything went well. And as you see, it did. If you are interested in other tutorials similar to this for web design or anything else, just let me know, and I will be happy to make them. Have a good one.